everyone. Welcome to Lives Worth Telling. I'm your host, Jodes, and my podcast is about digging deep into people's stories and providing them with a platform to share their life and their experiences with my listeners. One of the key reasons in creating this podcast is so their families and friends can have a record of their life, their stories, and their voice forever. One of my favourite things is hearing about people's stories, their triumphs, their hardships, but most of all, I love hearing about their resilience. I really hope you enjoy listening to my guests share their lives with you. I want you to have a few laughs and allow yourself to be immersed in their stories. Well, welcome to episode 8 of season 2 of Lives Worth Telling. Welcome to our new listeners in Vietnam, Nelson Bay, and Auckland in New Zealand. We are getting very close to the end of season 2 and starting to plan for season 3. Please get in touch if you would like to share your story or a family member's story. So, today we meet Hayley, who is the daughter of friend of the show Kimmy from season 1, episode 2. Hayley is due to have her first baby in about 3 weeks' time. I thought it would be nice to not only capture her life, but her pregnancy journey so far. Hayley shares her family stories with us and also how her pregnancy is travelling and what lies ahead for her. She has faced challenges and made some big decisions in her life that included moving to regional Victoria. She shares how much anxiety has clouded her life, but this girl has spirit and determination, that's for sure. We will be chatting to Hayley again as she will return for part 2 after her baby is born, and we will explore what life is like for her as a new mum. But for now, sit back and listen to this beautiful story that is Hale's. Enjoy. Oh, okay. Today I am so super excited. It's another relative of another episode. So I am interviewing today Kimmy's daughter, who is expecting a baby in about a month's time. So I'm going to say welcome to you, Hales.
Hi.
Or Hayley. We call you Hales. We call you lots of other things.
That's what I say. It depends on the person.
Why call anyone by the name that they were born with? It's no point. So how many weeks are you at the moment?
36 and 3 days.
36 and 3 days.
Yeah.
So I'm a doctor, lucky. So if anything happens in our hour or two, we're going to start off with, I guess, my standard questions, and then we'll move into what your pregnancy's been like. And it will be, nice to capture it. So let's start off with background and childhood. So tell me about your family, your parents, your siblings.
Yeah, so I've got Mum, who obviously has done a podcast.
Yes, Kimmy, episode 2.
Yeah. Dad, and then my little brother Jack. Yes. Obviously Mum spoke about
when you say little brother.
A lot. He's a lot taller than me. It's not really little brother anymore. I should just say younger brother, shouldn't I? God, he's like, it baffles me that he's 22 this year. Like,
I know.
Yeah. Because I'm like 25. Yeah, like 22. It's just, yeah.
I'm up to his kneecap, Hales. Like,
yeah. I know. We were playing basketball in the backyard last night for the first time in God knows how long. He stood like this with his arms up in front of me and was like, mate, I can't see the ring. Like, get out of the way. I'm already disadvantaged enough as it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, no, so young. I should say younger brother. But yeah, so it's just us four.
Yes,
yep.
The clan.
Yep.
The Drooks. And where were you born?
The William Angus in Upway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, only because you had provided me with some answers, but I did like, what were your chores as a child?
I shouldn't swear on it, should I?
It's all right, we put an E on it.
Okay. I was the dish bitch of the family. So I did the dishwasher and the dishes and all that sort of stuff, and taking the bins out.
Yeah, perfect.
And everything else that Jack really didn't do.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that's where civil rivalry started early.
Yeah, no, but it was definitely, I was the dish lady of the house.
Oh, and I did love too your earliest memory of your childhood.
Yeah. Bottle feeding Jack on the couch.
Oh, my gosh. See, he owes you.
He does. I kept him alive. I really did. Yeah. But like the
That's
funniest
gorgeous.
things, like Mum has always told me, like she told me this story so many times, but she put Jack, he would have been like only a couple of weeks old, so I would have been fresh 3. and she put him on the floor to do tummy time or whatever while she went to make a bottle. She came back and he wasn't on the floor, and she's like, this thing doesn't move. Like, where has he gone? And apparently I was sitting up on the couch. I'd managed to pick him up at 3 years old, pick up this couple of week old baby, climb onto the couch with him and sit there holding him, just watching my whatever I was watching. And Mum said, like, it was the first ever massive heart attack that she'd had having 2 kids. And I just sat there like, oh, he was crying,
that's so
Mum.
good.
Like, but I always remember that story purely because, like, I was like, oh, I wonder why that's why I'm in now. Like,
yes,
I always just had
just
that
pick this up.
instinct. Yeah, I'll just pick it up and, tell it to be quiet.
I found this on the floor.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So describe what school was like for you, and did you like school?
I mean, primary school was good.
It's the best years
It's
of
the
your
best
life.
year, yeah. But you look back on it now and you go, God,
So
I wish
good.
I went. I wish I was back in primary school. But
Yes.
primary school was good. High school was a bit more challenging, like your normal anxieties and like I can be book smart when I want to be, but at the same time, like I'm more of a hands-on person. So exams and SACs and all that sort of stuff, getting into year 11 and 12, like that just wasn't me. Like I wanted to be woodworking and like being creative and doing all those hands-on things, and like I learn from doing things. I don't learn from sitting there reading the same paragraph 5 times and getting only one thing out of it. Like, so for me that was a bit hard, and obviously uni, like that times 10. And just your normal like high school stuff.
It's a good time, isn't it?
It's the best time.
No one,
really.
I don't think anyone would go back and do high school again.
No, I don't think so. But like I think I did do well-ish. I could have done a lot better, but it just wasn't for me. Like I wanted to be out working. I wanted to be doing what career I wanted to do. Like I didn't want to sit in a classroom and like hear the same stuff over and over again. And as I said, read the same paragraph over and like I just didn't want to do that. But yeah, so that was a bit different, but I was definitely glad to be done.
You finished year 12. So
I finished year 12. Yeah, barely, but I got there.
Unscathed.
Yeah, well, barely.
Barely. And I guess thinking about your family, what are some memorable trips or outings that you've done with them?
We used to do like every 2 years go to Queensland and like to Gold Coast and Murwillumbah to see Dad's. So I think it's our great aunt and great uncle. So like they were always really good.
So good.
Like one trip that I always remember is we went over our birthday. So obviously, Jack and my birthdays are 2 days apart. So we went up there at the end of May for them, and they threw us a pirate party. Don't know why, but they did. And there's photos of me in like full pirate get up, like eye patch and the jewels, and they had like the chocolate gold coins that you got, like that you were excited about as a kid, and
so good.
all that sort of stuff. So like that is a memory that always pops into my head when we talk about like family trips and all that sort of stuff. And then we had a family trip with like Mum's side to Murrumbula as well. Like, that was nice. Jack caught his first fish on that trip, and like all that, yeah. So like they're always ones that I think back about.
That's good.
They were really like the only ones that we did. Like Queensland was our big trip because we had sport on weekends and stuff. Like we didn't do weekend trips as much. But yeah, Queensland was always.
I love that it's with extended family.
Yeah,
not just the clan. It's others.
Yeah,
that's so good. I think because I know some of your answers. How did you celebrate Christmas then? So did they come down to you? Did they ever come down to you for Christmas?
Not the Murrumbula ones.
Okay.
It was more just the Melbourne family that we would be with. It would depend on the Christmas. Like sometimes Mum would host, so we'd be at home all day, which is great because we could play with our toys and all that sort of stuff.
It's nothing better.
Yeah. But then otherwise we'd have the morning as us at home, and then lunch with either Mum or Dad's side, and then the other for dinner.
Okay.
So it was always a really full-on big day. Like we saw everyone and crammed it into one day. Yeah. But then it meant that like Boxing Day we could go do the shopping or play with our toys and do that sort of stuff. So like that was kind of like our Christmas day if not everyone was with us.
Just with you guys.
Yeah. But it was always like we've got to see everyone on the day. Like
I know. It's like something really bad's going to happen that you have to see people before Christmas. Oh, see you before Christmas on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like some apocalypse is going to happen and you're never going to see them again. Like, I'm going to see you before Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Why?
Yes, absolutely. Significant influences in your childhood. I was intrigued on this one, Hals.
Look at my notes because I don't remember what I wrote. It's a pregnancy brain in me.
It's all good.
Dad always comes to mind first.
Yes. Sorry, Kimmy.
Sorry, sorry, Ma. No, like obviously she's been a massive impact and influence on my childhood too. But just like Dad, he worked so hard, and Mum did too. But like Dad worked so hard. He worked long hours. He had a massive stressful job. Like, but he always still made time for us kids. Like I'll always remember that, whether it was being our basketball coach, and even if we'd like fight the whole hour of training, like, you know,
as in you and him.
Yeah, all the time, all the time. Yep. I'd be pulled off the court during games for attitude, and then it would, like all the time. But that's what he did. Like that was, you know, I work hard Monday to Friday. You know, I'm out the door early, I'm home late. Yes. But like, here's an hour of my time teaching you how to play basketball at training, or here's an hour and a half of my day coaching a game, or, you know, taking me to rep games or trainings or things like that. Like that was always what he did. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Like he's such a patient person,
isn't he?
I don't know how he puts up with the three of us and still so patient, but he is so patient. And I think like that's where I get my patience from too. Like Mum and I are the same person. Anyone that knows Mum and I knows that we are the exact same person, and we butt heads, and it's like we're both as stubborn as each other. But he just showed me that patience and like stop stressing about what you can't control. Like even now, like he still says, you can't control it. Like, don't worry about it.
He's very level-headed.
Very level-headed compared to Mum and I.
Get out the popcorn.
Yeah, literally. But yes, I think, I don't know, like when I thought of that question, like that was the first thing. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, as I said, like Mum's obviously a big influence as well. Like she was there for us, and, you know, she was the one that would, you know, run us around to school and, you know, other things. And but yeah, Dad just had that patience and that like, I'm knackered, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Like
sense of calm.
Yeah.
Yin and yang, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You need some fire, but you also need some calm too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving into your family life as an adult.
Yep.
I know you have a partner. So my question is always, are you or have you ever been married, or you have a long-term partner?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yep. No marriage though.
Oh gosh, there's this one quote that this lady I used to work with years ago, she used to say, "I'll get married. You should get married. Why should I be the only one miserable," or something? And then she had an affair with her cousins. That's weird.
Oh, lovely.
Well, there'll be some people that know that story. And well, do you have children?
Not yet. We do have one on the way, obviously.
Planning.
I mean, if you count the dogs, I treat them like our babies.
Oh, yes. There are a lot of fur babies in this world.
Yes.
Heaps of them.
Yeah.
So good. And this is a good one. Where do you live now and why?
So much to Mum's disgust, we moved 3 and a bit hours away up to Benalla, rural country town.
And where you did live before?
We did live for 12 months in Eildon.
Okay.
Lake Eildon. So that's about an hour and a half from Melbourne.
Okay. So you thought it's not far enough from the family.
I need to move further. Yep, I need another hour and a half to to compose myself.
Yes.
But no, so we moved to Eildon for Ryan's work and a lifestyle change.
Yep.
Ryan's a big, like, outdoorsy country type boy, loves all that type of stuff. And I needed to get out of the suburbs. I needed to get out of my comfort zone and really, like, experience that side of the life that I hadn't experienced being down in Melbourne for 21 years. You don't people don't understand the hustle and bustle and like everyone's urgency to get things until you're like down here, until you're up rural where everyone's just like, oh, g'day, I'll get there when I get there. Like, it's
very
just
different.
So different. And I think I needed that just to experience that and slow down and all that sort of stuff as well, which I didn't realise until I took the leap and moved to Melbourne.
That's so good.
But so now we live in Benalla. We purchased our first home almost 12 months ago now.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, end of Feb last year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I think it's like 2 weeks shy of 12 months at the moment since we bought our first home.
Gone quickly.
Part of being up there was because it was easier to get into the market.
Yes.
But also because Ryan's work, but again the country lifestyle, we love it. So
perfect.
So we're up there now. It's worked out really well.
Out.
Yeah.
Because we've got, I guess, a lot of ground to cover. I normally ask a few more questions in these bits, but with you and Ryan, how did you meet?
Through mutual friends.
Yes.
That was a really evil laugh. It's not an evil story. It's more just like, it's the funny, I think it's just us to a T. Like, it's the funniest story how we met.
Because I don't know if I know
I probably haven't told you.
No, I don't think I know this.
But like, funnily enough, so we had a maternity shoot yesterday.
Okay, yes.
But we got asked how we met, and the first thing we always do is giggle. Like, we always laugh. It's like, oh, how do you meet? And we just start laughing. People look at us like so weirdly. But yeah, one random night, a mate of mine messaged me and she said, oh, I'm going for a drive with a guy. He's bringing a friend. Do you want to come? And back then I'd normally be like, God, no, I don't know these two blokes. I'm like, I'm not going out. Like, that's, that's anxiety triggering right there. No thanks. But for some reason I just went, you know what? Bugger it. Let's go.
Okay.
Like, let's just go on an adventure. I'm not doing anything. It was just before Australia Day.
Okay.
So it was like coming into a long weekend. I was like, I've got no plans. Let's go. So yeah, Ryan and his mate were in the car, and then my friend and I were in there, and we drove all the way down to the Rye Carnival. That's just where we just kept kind of driving, and that's where we got to. Saw that there was a carnival, and we were like, oh, well, we'll get out here. That whole car ride, Ryan and I didn't even look at each other. I had no idea what he looked like. Hadn't spoken a word to him. It was basically the boys are talking in the front, us girls are talking in the back.
Okay.
And yeah, stepped out of the car, and I was like, oh, he's cute. Well, like whatever. And didn't think much of it. And then we just started talking and like hanging out now that like we're obviously seeing each other in person. We were having fun at the carnival. And then I'd gone to the toilet. I can't not laugh. I'd gone to the toilet, and I'd come back to the group, and Ryan said, oh, I need to go to the toilet. And I said, oh, it's just over there. And I pointed to where I'd come from because like that's where the toilet was. So instead of looking at what was on the door before he walked in, he's just gone exactly to where I've directed him. And next thing I know, like our friend that he was with, Jake, he got a text message from Ryan saying, I'm stuck in the girls' toilets and there's people in here, like I need help, someone save me type thing. And so Jake starts laughing and goes, well, I can't go. And my friend was like, well, I'm not going in there. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go and save him. Like I felt bad because I directed him there.
Yeah. You let him up the garden path.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get him out of here without it being so embarrassing, because he was messaging saying like he could hear that there were young children in there and mums and like, here's this like 20-something-year-old male walking out of the toilets.
What's going on there?
So I was like, oh, no. So I walked in there and I said, oh, Ryan, honey, did you go into the wrong toilet again, sweetheart? I said, which one are you in, darling? And all of a sudden he opens the door, and this is so bad, I don't condone it, but he opened the door and he acted disabled.
Oh, no.
And he was like, oh, I've gone to the wrong toilet.
No.
Oh, no. Like, just trying to make it that like he wasn't this weirdo, like 20-year-old hiding in the toilet.
He was just a bit challenged.
He was just a little bit challenged mentally, and just happened to go into the wrong. I mean, he is in a loving way, but like, he got into the wrong toilet. So, and there was a mother and about an 8-year-old daughter waiting for the toilet that he was in, and so he's come out and he's acted a little bit special, and I said, oh, come on, darling, wash your hands when we'll get back to the group now. And so he's washing his hands and whatever, and he's walking out with me, And we got out and around the corner and we've just started wetting ourselves laughing. Like, it was just, we were on the same wavelength. He knew exactly where I was coming from, like how to get out of the situation. And then we went back and told the group, and we were all like literally on the floor in stitches in the middle of this carnival, like just laughing our heads off.
Shivers.
And from that moment on, I was like, there's something here.
He's one of the people.
He's one of my people, whether it goes anywhere or not. Like, we're going to be friends. Like, just to have that, like, that interaction work and flow so nicely. And then basically from then, unless one of us has been away, we've been inseparable since. So, but it's always like a funny story to tell. Like, it's not your typical, nowadays it's not like, oh, we met on Tinder or like, online or whatever. Yes. Like, it's a nice story.
It's just a random interaction that is awesome.
Yeah.
What are your favourite trips or holidays that you've had together?
Our biggest one was we did a month overseas.
Yes.
Which was amazing. We did 2 weeks in Canada. So we did, I had to write it down because baby brain, I forgot everywhere we went. But we did Vancouver, Calgary, Jasper, Banff, like the national parks, and Lake Louise.
Yes.
And then
so beautiful.
Oh, it was.
I'd go back tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so would I.
Awesome.
Yeah, we absolutely loved it. We'd go back and do it ourselves. We were on like a tour.
Okay.
We were the only two Australians on a 52-spot bus.
Oh, wow.
But so like we only got like 15 minutes at each spot. So we'd go back and like have longer and really like be able to sit there and take it in.
Yeah.
But being able to see those fantastic, like breathtaking spaces was just amazing.
Yeah.
And then we went and did 2 weeks in the States. So we did Vegas for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Never again.
Oh my gosh, I loved Vegas.
No, I think because it was just so overwhelming for me. Like,
it was a crazy place.
Yeah, it's just go all the time. And I was like, oh my God.
I loved it. I thought we need something like that in Australia.
I would go back, but it wouldn't be the first place I'd go.
Oh, I'd go back. I loved it. Yeah, it was just unlike Donkey Kong. Like, it was just crazy. Like, there's no place like it.
It was.
You could go to any shows. If in Melbourne, you've got to book shows like months in advance or it was just a cool place.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was amazing, but I just think it was too fast and too busy for me. Like, my little anxiety. Little anxiety me is like, oh my God, there's so much going.
So much. It's just an overwhelm. It's
very overwhelming. Yeah. But then we went to South Carolina and stayed with a friend of Ryan's for 2 weeks. Completely different. And then a few days in Houston before we came home. So
cool.
We still were almost, this would probably be 3 years? 2 years. 2 years on. Okay. 2.5 years on. We still talk about it almost daily. Yeah. Like something from our trip.
Amazing.
Like, it was just fantastic. It was the best trip.
What do you admire most about Mr. Ryan?
Well, there's lots. There is lots.
Ryan, she's got a really big folder with her. She's just flicking through chapter 1.
Yeah. No, I think like his work ethic and determination to give us the best life possible.
Yeah.
He's always thinking, like, how can we get to a point where we're comfortable and we don't have to, not that we struggle or we worry or whatever, but like, how do we just eliminate that altogether? Like, he just works so hard to keep a roof over our head. And especially now that we're going down to one income on maternity leave, like he's picking up extra hours and like, he's really just, he just wants to give us the best that we can have, which, like I love. And he wants to be successful in life. And I'm all for that. Like, I just love how driven he is. That's probably like the best thing. And like watching that progression too, like has been so nice.
Over time.
Yeah.
And what are your dreams for the future together?
Well, obviously I hope we die old together.
Yes.
Live and grow old together and with our family that we're beginning and, having all of those little traditions and
setting all that up. It's so exciting.
Setting up like the childhood that like I had, like, traditions and trips and, love in the home and like all that sort of stuff.
Kim and Brett.
Yeah, definitely. But like, that's where I see it. Hopefully it's a lifetime. Too bad, so sad it's not because he's stuck with me. So.
Or just do what your mum did and said to your dad on their wedding day is, I will never divorce you. You're
Pretty
stuck
much.
with me forever.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
So moving on to work and profession, what was your first job?
I worked in a butcher.
Oh, yes.
And for some people that knew me back then when I started work, I started work as soon as I could.
Yes.
But that was so left of field for me. Raw meat and talking to people and, yuck. But yeah, it was a butcher. It was customer service and packing up the meat and
oh my gosh,
all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
The amount of times I'd walk into the freezer and there's things hanging.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? It's a different view.
Yes.
To the public.
Yep.
And thinking about your profession and job now, what is that and how did you get there?
I currently am an assistant director of an early child care centre.
Yes.
So very different.
Very different.
But I always knew I was going to work
raw meat
with,
and talking to people.
Well, pretty much. But I always knew I was going to do something with children and work with children. I've said that for a very, very long time, from a very young age. But yeah, so I worked my way up to pretty much running a service.
And so you'd studied to get into that role,
so I did my Cert 3 whilst I did my Year 11 and 12, which was probably the other reason why high school was full on because I was doing essentially two qualifications.
Yeah.
But I just knew as soon as school was finished, I wanted to be in that profession. I wanted to start in it, wanted to get ahead and start climbing my way up. And, my biggest dream was always to own my own service.
Oh, yes.
So I was I want to get that started. So, yeah, I did my Cert 3 while I did Year 11 and 12. And then 3 days after I finished my Year 12 exams, I started full-time work at a centre.
Yes.
And then did that.
That's right.
Yeah, did that casually. And then I went back casual while I did the first year of my bachelor. Didn't like that and decided I'm going to get further for what I want to do and how fast I want to do it doing my diploma. So I came out of my bachelor and I went into a diploma traineeship and, I did have COVID on my side. I couldn't do anything else but study, but smashed that out in 7 or 8 months and, I was a room leader in a nursery before 21 and director before 22, or assistant director, before 22. So.
Oh, my gosh. And you're about to finish up.
Yes.
Ready to.
2 more days.
I think you've already done your nesting, haven't you?
I've been nesting since about 16 weeks. It's been really bad.
I'm glad you said weeks, not 16.
Well, yeah. I think the baby box started at about 16. I've had some of her clothes for all the Richmond stuff I think I bought when I was 18.
So good.
Yeah.
That is so good. Prepping.
Yeah.
And what did you want to be when you grew up?
Something with children.
Yeah.
As I said, my dream was always to work with children and I just didn't know how that kind of looked like. And then as I got older, it was I'm going to do, love my babysitting, I'm going to do childcare and, as I said, run my own service one day and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or a mum. I always said mum.
I want to be a mum. Hey, it's a
job. I
job.
want to be a mum. Yeah.
That's a 60-hour-a-week, 120-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
And I guess we want to chat about your passions and interests. So describe what you are most passionate about in life and your passions, general passions.
I suppose depends on the day, really.
Yeah.
But I'm very passionate about early childhood and development and I always say if I didn't care so much about my job, I wouldn't be so stressed in life.
Yeah, I know. It's heart and soul.
It is. 100% it is. And I'm very, very passionate about making sure that children get adequate care and, that they're learning and they're engaged and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
So at the moment, that's especially finishing up and stepping away from the service.
Of course, yes.
But also going into motherhood as well. Being able to do that with my own baby
absolutely
is so exciting. And having that knowledge behind me as well, what to expect and milestones and all that sort of stuff is really handy as well. But But yeah, very, very passionate
That's
about that. Yeah.
Tell me about your favourite music or bands. Like what does how old are you now? 24?
Almost 25.
So
yeah.
yeah, what bands is it are you more of a like a Spotify or a radio, or like what music bands?
I
days?
listen to most things.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like a metalhead or anything like
Yeah.
that, but like if I think it's good, like I'll listen to it. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a specific genre or like I love Pink. I think
Yes.
she's just like she's my favorite. I think she's just phenomenal. Her music, her concerts, like all that sort of stuff is just awesome. But I don't have like other than that a favorite band or anything specific. Like I just kind of listen to music, whether it's country or pop or I have a boogie to something that makes your heart want to jump out of your chest.
Bit of everything.
Yeah.
And what was your first concert?
Taylor Swift.
Oh,
I was a Swiftie when I was younger.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I went with Mum and Danny, who's been on the podcast as well, and her daughter Maddie,
friend of the show.
Yes, yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure that was
How
the
old
first.
were you guys
concert.
at the time?
I reckon we were 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Like we were.
Did you go
young.
when she came out last time?
Nah.
Nah.
No, I'm not a massive
With
Swiftie
other
anymore.
billions of people trying for tickets.
Well, there was that too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous.
Wasn't it? So now we're going to move on to a new segment for you, Hals, that I have created is pregnancy and your motherhood journey. But what we're going to do first is now Kimmy in her episode said something and she didn't know it. None of us knew it at the time. But now I know that you did know it at the time. So we're going to have a listen to this.
I just want to be able to click my fingers and be where my kids are, where my grandkids are going to be.
Yes.
Because that's one thing for me that I go, she's going to have babies and she's so far away and I'm going to have to travel to see them. I'm not going to be the grandma that lives around the corner,
Yes.
And that's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it adds to the
Teleportation.
fun. Teleportation.
So when I asked your mum if there was a special superpower that she could have, she chose teleportation, and that was her answer. And here we are. Now just let me look at my notes here. So we recorded on the 1st of July. You found out you were pregnant on the 28th of June.
Yeah.
So you told your mum that you were pregnant on the 20th of July. So there we were interviewing and she's talking about grandchildren. I didn't know. She didn't know. And there you are. Baby was already ready and waiting in there. So I found that very, very funny. And I wanted to grab that out and include it in your episode. So I was like, gosh, that's a good one.
And I remember as I was saying to you before, like I was on a walk listening to that podcast. I was like, I'm going to go and listen to Mum's story. Like no one's going to annoy me. I'm going to walk around town. And that bit came up and I actually think I shed a tear, but I also I giggled because I was like, I know something you don't.
So brilliant, Helms. That is just so good. That is so good. So pregnancy and your motherhood journey. So how has your pregnancy journey been so far?
I have actually been so lucky.
Yeah.
Like I can find a million things to complain about, but I've actually had such a good, easy pregnancy.
Perfect.
I didn't have morning sickness. Like I had maybe a week of nausea.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like it's just been really cruisy. Like it's just been the exhaustion that's really hit me. Like you don't understand pregnancy tide until you're like pregnant. And I always looked at people I knew and watched people I knew pregnant being like, oh, for God's sake, like it's not that hard. You're sleeping, like sleep before the baby gets here. Like, but until you experience
it's on another level.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And like I've had pregnancy insomnia from probably week 7 or 8.
Oh my gosh.
So everyone's like, oh, get as much sleep as you can. Like, sleep before the baby gets here. Like, I'm sleeping worse now than I was beforehand.
Really?
No. But it's just a whole new level. But overall, like, I've had such a smooth, easygoing first pregnancy, which I'm so grateful for.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
And are there any surprises or things you didn't expect about pregnancy, apart from the tiredness?
The tiredness. Just like, I don't know, like the whole process, again, you don't understand until you're in it. Like everything to me being a first-time mum has been a surprise, or like, oh, is that what that means? Or is that what that feels like? Like, feeling her for the first time, I was like, is that a fart or is that her? Like, do you know what I mean? And then you like distinguish it. You go, oh, no, I think that's her. Like, just, all of that it's just been a really big eye-opener for me, I think. Like, it's been more of a learning curve than anything, because working in early childhood, you really don't get them, bare minimum, you get them 12 weeks old, like if mum has to go back to work straight away. But realistically, like your average age is between that 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
So I get them at the good stage. Not the good stage. Like, obviously all of it's a good stage, but I get them at an age where, like, they're more alert. They're wanting to learn. They're exploring. I've never really – I obviously haven't experienced pregnancy beforehand.
Yes.
But I also haven't experienced that 4th trimester, like newborn stage type thing. So, like all of it's just been such a massive learning curve.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And you found out you were having a girl.
Yes.
Yes.
Little girl.
And have you got names sorted?
We have had a name for probably the last 2 and a bit years.
Oh, yes.
That we absolutely loved and said, oh, if we ever have a girl, like, this will be her name. And then
Too
we
easy.
found out we were having a girl, and Ryan's like, I don't know now. I was like, dude, this was the only certainty that we had. I was like, don't make me pick another name now. Like, God.
Yes, that's some people are still indecisive after the baby's born and the baby just gets called baby.
Well, and he's like, what if she comes out and she doesn't look like that name? Like, we need another one. Like, and then we just couldn't decide, like he was like, nah, don't like it. And I like more, not necessarily out there names, but like less common names.
Okay.
Were on my baby list.
Okay.
And they've been on my list for years.
Yes.
Way before Ryan and I ever met. And he was like, no, I don't like them. And then there was one day we're driving to Melbourne and I said, what about this name? And he has never referred to her as the original name since. He only refers to her as his second name. Won't let me personalise anything, just in case she comes out and doesn't look like it and we go back to the original one. So we do have 2 names, but we're pretty set on one, which is completely different to what we've had for the last 2 years. But yeah, so
I think it's hard when you're working with children in early childhood is trying to find a name for your own child, and not try and cringe when you think of some of the little delights in the past, and you go, oh, can't call it that. Can't call it that.
Didn't get along
can't call
with
it
that
that
either. That mother annoyed me. That kid was a turd.
I hear you. That is a big challenge.
Yeah.
I remember saying to Adam, I think I'm going to end up calling my baby Table because no kid's been called Table because it's everything reminded me of someone.
Yeah.
Positive and negative.
Yeah.
And what's been the most rewarding part of your pregnancy so far?
I think like getting to the stage of feeling her move and watching my belly grow, and like, I worked so hard over like 2 years to lose like 30 kilos and get back to a healthier version physically and mentally of myself. And then I fell pregnant and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fat and I can't control it. And it brought back all these like emotions and feelings and like all that sort of stuff. But actually watching my bump grow and watching her and feeling her move and like watching what my body is just naturally doing to keep her healthy and alive and safe has just been like incredible.
Oh, so
like, do I still have days where I look at myself and, God, you're a heifer? Yes, I do. But watching my body do what it's meant to do has just been such an eye-opener for me.
Embracing it.
Yeah. And obviously being given the chance to be a mum.
Yeah, of course, Hals, of course. Have you experienced any challenges?
Yes. So I have hip dysplasia, which wasn't diagnosed until I was 21.
Okay.
So normally, for those people that don't know, like it's usually diagnosed just after birth.
Yes.
They get a hip check, and at their 6-week appointment, they'll get another one. It just wasn't picked up.
Okay.
It wasn't until I started losing weight and essentially the fat was coming out of the pockets that were open in my hips that were essentially acting like, you know, the proper mechanisms that I started getting a lot of pain, and so I was investigating it, and they're like, yep, you've got hip dysplasia, like we need to break your pelvis and reset this, you know, reset it. And I was like, I work full time. I can't afford, it was like a 12-month recovery, learning to walk again, all this stuff. Like I was also I think I was either at the start or the middle of a football season. Like I said, yeah, whatever, I'll see you at the end of the season. And I'm almost 25 and never went back. I was like, I'm not doing that. There's ways that I can manage it. The gym was great, like stretching and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But pregnancy has been difficult on that in terms of my hips don't sit where they're meant to.
Yeah.
So then having, especially now that she's heavier and she's bigger, having a heavy baby sitting on them and them having to try and rotate, you know, to get ready for labour, but they can't rotate that way. I've had a lot of discomfort, lower back pain, sciatic nerve pain. So that's been a little bit challenging, especially when you do work with children and you're up and down all the time and you're walking around, and it's a very physical job. Yeah. So that's been a big challenge. And I've also had really low iron. So one of my biggest things was like I couldn't eat meat until about 26 weeks.
Okay.
Just completely turned off meat altogether. Give it to me processed in a Macca's burger, completely fine. But, you know, have a steak on the barbecue and I couldn't do it. The thought of it was like, nah. So that obviously contributed to it too, but obviously Bub's sucking all the iron out of me as well. My body's just not producing enough. So like in the space of 8 weeks, it dropped 3 levels.
Oh, gee.
So I will probably have to have an iron infusion before I leave the hospital.
Hence your tiredness.
Hence my exhaustion as well. Yeah, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
But they're really like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, the only challenges I've had, and just being stubborn and not finishing work earlier is.
But
that's just me. Like I can't.
If I could drive up there and take you out of here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So have you made, looking at health and well-being, have you made any lifestyle changes since finding out you were pregnant?
Not really. Like I probably should have. I did stop going to the gym, but that was more so because I just didn't have enough hours in the day, and, you know, first trimester exhaustion. Yes. The last thing you want to do after a 12-hour day is go and work out. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself that I didn't keep my body moving. Like I've always said I wanted to have active pregnancies, which I have in terms of like the job that I'm in. Yeah. But not, you know, weightlifting and all that sort of stuff that mentally helps me stay healthy as well. But apart from that, like I've just done your standard, don't eat your cold meats and cheeses, which like all that sort of stuff. Listeria. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I know. The struggle for me, I think, was not having KFC burgers because Mayo had the raw egg. So I said to the girls, I sacrificed fillet burgers.
I haven't done that very well.
So I'm just thinking of, so you have mentioned in terms of your pregnancy-related symptoms, your support system. So how is your support network, I guess, helping you through your pregnancy?
Oh, I have the best support system.
So good.
Whether it's, you know, mum doing daily check-ins, and as I was saying to you before, I think mum's more excited about this baby than I am. She's like, when my baby arrives, it's like, oh my God. Which I love. Like it's so exciting to see her so excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so whether it's her doing daily check-ins or, you know, my best friend up in Benalla, she'll come over or message me, hey going, hey feeling, like my sister-in-law's been amazing. Like she's got a 4-year-old and a 10.5-month-old, and I reckon almost daily I'm asking her, like, is this normal? Like, what do I do here? Should I do this? Like, she's just always there if I have a question, and it's like more recent. You know, like mum gives me advice, but it's from 25 years ago. Like, back when you were born. It's like, mum, things are so different now. Like, you and like I take it all on, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's nice to have like the more recent relevant as well. But yeah, like Ryan's family's been amazing. My family's been amazing. Like Ryan himself has been incredible.
That's
like
good.
They say you never forget how you're treated. Oh, it makes me really teary. I don't know why I'm getting teary.
Oh,
You never forget like how you're treated when you're pregnant.
yes.
And like he's always been amazing, especially being able to put up with me. Like he's just a saint for that. But through, I don't know how he does it, but through the hormones and the pregnancy rage and the tiredness and not doing as much around the house and like all that stuff, like he's picked up the slack and, if he had it his way, I would have stopped work 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you just need
So
to look
would I.
after yourself. And well, yeah. But he's just been amazing. Like anything that I've needed, anything that I've wanted, especially for the nursery. Oh, yeah, we need it, darling. He's like, we don't need it. And I'm like, no, we do need it. He's like, you know what? You just go and get it. Like he supports my shopping addiction. But yeah, he's just been amazing. I cannot fault him
So
at
good.
all. Like,
So good.
yeah.
And your expectations and preparations, what are you most excited about for the arrival of Missy Moo?
My biggest dream coming true.
Oh, yeah.
Being a mum.
Yeah.
Like
The final piece to the puzzle.
Oh, I think from about 29, 30 weeks, I still have times where I'll just burst into tears. Ryan's like, what's wrong? I was like, I just want to meet her. Like, I'm so
know.
excited, but it's so far away. And now that it's getting like
Very
close to the end, like we're
Yeah.
3.5 weeks or 3 weeks really from due date. Like
Yeah.
I'm just so excited.
It's nearly showtime, Hals.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yep. But like just seeing who she like looks like the most and like all the love that I know she's going to get from family and friends. Like
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So excited. Look, you might be able to get her off your mum at some point, I guess, and take her home. But
Look, the
Is that gonna
positive
happen?
to that is if I need a day to myself, off to Gigi you go.
Absolutely.
See you later.
absolutely, yeah, foster that.
Yeah.
And what's the one thing that you're most looking forward to after she's born?
I think just like setting up as I was saying before, like the traditions and our like watching our family grow and all that sort of stuff and watching Ryan become a dad. Like up
beautiful.
until 9 months ago when we got that positive test, couldn't have given a rat's about babies.
Yes,
Like
yes.
he's got all these nieces and nephews. He loves them and adores them, but he doesn't know what to do with them.
Yes.
He's never, like he'd hold his newborn niece and go, what do I do with it? Like just cuddle it. But she's crying. Cool.
Yeah.
Shush it. Like
Yes.
he's had no idea. And just watching already in the last 9 months of the 8 months of the pregnancy, watching him become so much more involved with his nieces and nephews and, like using the baby to learn how to calm her down and play with her and like all that sort of stuff. Like just watching that journey, like I just can't wait to watch him become a dad.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Well, your work and personal life. So has your work life been affected by pregnancy at all? No.
I still do 50-ish hour weeks.
Naughty.
Up until this week. I mean, I've been on like lighter duties, especially since my sciatic pain.
Okay.
So for probably the last month, like I've been more so out in the office versus being on the floor with the kids, with the children. But yeah, apart from that, like the workload is still the same. That was my choice though. Like I just can't step back. That's just me. There was opportunities to, but I just can't step back. I'm too dedicated.
Just thinking about, I guess, the emotional side of it. Has it changed your perspective on life or your priorities?
Yeah, massively
Yeah.
already. Like family first.
Yeah.
More so in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
As I was saying, like even with work, like, no, work comes first. Like I'll run myself into the ground. But the last few weeks, like there's just been that massive realization of, no, me and my daughter need to come first now. Like I need to start stepping back and
absolutely
pulling back and all that sort of stuff. And, pregnancy is such a lonely thing, but not at the same time. Like, you know, you're watching your body change and you've got to grow up and mature and all that sort of stuff while everyone else is still doing things around you and having like their life and stuff. And so, you know, unfortunately there has been friendships and things like that have fallen off the wagon since I've become pregnant because like you're at different stages of life. You know, they don't understand what you're going through and, you know, it's kind of like if you don't check in on now, like you're not going to check in later. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's been emotionally that way, like it's been a bit of an adjustment.
Okay. Like,
you know, who's really there for you, who's not. And at the end of the day, like you only want who's going to be there for you around you and your baby. So like, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Do you know, you just made me think of, there's a movie that's just come out I watched the other night called Kinda Pregnant, and it's Amy Schumer and Ursula Carlson is in it. And so she is jealous of one of her friends that is pregnant, but then another friend is pregnant and all they did was talk about pregnancy and do their pregnancy thing. So she was like, so she fakes being pregnant. And it's pretty good. It's not bad.
I think I might watch that one.
It's kind of light. It's kind of light. Like, you know, it's not, it's, you know, she is very good in it. So it's on Netflix. So yeah, when you said that, I was like, that's what she's like. She was just sick of them talking about their pregnancies, and she was like, she lost kind of her friends because they were pregnant together. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it changes things to some degree.
Yeah.
I think I'm come to the end of that bit, except for my last bit is, do you have a birth plan in mind or taking it step by step?
Step by step.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me knows that if I have a plan in my head, whether you know about it or not, and it doesn't go to plan, that's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm thrown out for the rest of it, and like it all hits the fan.
Yes.
There is no way I can go in there saying I want this, this, and this in this order to happen. I don't want this and this, because the second that the don't wants, you know, have to come into effect,
yes,
it would just throw me out.
Yeah.
So I'm very much going in there with, look, I'd prefer not to have XYZ, like an epidural, and, you know, like I want to try and do it naturally and have less interventions and things like that. But if it gets to a point where me or Bubs is not safe and we need it, by all means, I'm not going to be like, no.
Change of plans.
So, yeah, I think step by step, one at a time, just get me through it and get her here and have us be healthy, and that's all I care about.
Absolutely. And looking ahead after the birth, is there anything that comes to mind what you're most nervous about after she's born? You can't think past that point at the moment?
No, I think about this quite often, like the transition to being a mum.
Yeah.
It's not just me and Ryan anymore.
Yeah.
It's not just I feel like doing XYZ today, so I'm going to go and do it. Or I feel like getting absolutely blackout drunk on the weekend and feeling sorry for myself the next day. Like I've got this life. Like this life depends on me now. You know, like that shift between me as a person and now me as a mum.
Yeah.
It's that, like I'm not necessarily worried about it, but I know that shift for me is going to be quite hard.
Yeah, look, I don't know. It's a challenge for everyone, and it's not any better or worse for anyone.
Yeah.
It's just it's a big pivot. Yeah. And you go, I think one of the questions I ask families at the start of their kinder year as just an icebreaker in small groups, and I say, what's your favourite thing to do when you haven't got your children with you? And they have a lot of look of puzzle.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that was like. So they might have like one child, 2, 3, whatever, but they have to think really hard what they used to like to do.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to have that time without – you still have to maintain you and all the things that come with that. So, Hales, I'll move into what I call my normal questions, but we will have part 2. I'm thinking 3 to 4 weeks after I'm going to call her Missy Moo. I'm doing it again. That's not her name, is it?
No.
After she is born, and I can come to you or that crazy lady that happens to be her grandmother. That would be very exciting, having a chat to you after she's born, and it's so exciting times ahead, Hales. Exciting times ahead. I did like what your mum posted the other day, that maybe you'll get to cut your baby's cord. I was like, no, at all, you don't. There were some tense moments in that delivery room when you were born, Hales, I've got to say. It was
I can only imagine.
Your dad and I were looking after your mum as much as we could, but the good thing is about her labour is it was progressing. Like nothing went wrong, Yes, it was very stressful, but we're all crying. We're all crying. It was amazing, Hales, and it was like yesterday. How can you be having a baby? So I'm going to move into Curious Corner, where I ask random questions about our guests. Now, can you recall a time where you just couldn't stop laughing about something?
So many. So many.
And who does it involve?
I honestly, last night when I was looking at the questions, I was like, I actually can't pinpoint one. I'm the type of person that once I get going, I can't stop anyway. So, for something that's not funny to somebody else, literally. And most of the time it's not even funny to anyone else. It's just that I can't stop laughing.
Yes.
But I actually can't pinpoint a time.
Now, in Kimmy's episode, she did mention there's something about the MCG story, which she didn't mention what it was, and I am curious because I did listen to her episode yesterday. And what is the MCG story?
I don't know why it's such a big thing that she couldn't mention. It's not that
was
funny.
Like, I'll let her tell that. And I was like, I must ask you the MCG story.
Not that funny, but it is. I don't even know how old I was. I would have been like 11, 10 or 11.
Okay.
And I had, little boyfriend at the time that had come to the football with us at the MCG. And so it was us four and him sitting there. And
I have no idea what you're about to say. My gosh.
We're sitting there watching, I'm pretty sure it was Richmond versus Melbourne, to be honest.
Oh.
And we were sitting in the top stand.
Go the D's.
And we'd had a day. Dad had taken the lemonade out of the bag and it had shook up and gone over the 3 rows in front of us. And, we'd had a day, and we were finally sitting there, we were watching the game, and I just turned to Dad out of nowhere and said, Dad, he goes, yes, H. And I said, is this live? And he just looked at me and went, what? I said, is this live? The game? Is it live?
They're just practicing.
And Dad goes, we're sitting in the bloody MCG. What do you mean? And then it clicked as to what I'd said. And I was like, I meant, is it live on the tally? If we were to be shown on the thing, would everyone else be able to see us? Is it live to everybody else? I know it's live to me, but it's just the way that,
so good.
Yeah.
The MCG story.
Yeah.
Yes.
I assume that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, so I don't think,
But that started what we call Hayley-isms.
Oh.
The dumb shit that comes out of my mouth. The Hayley-isms.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. The old Melbourne cricket ground in Melbourne is the MCG story.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know what you were going to say. I thought, oh my gosh.
She made it sound so much worse than what it is.
No. And if you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be?
I thought about this one for a while.
Yes.
I haven't looked at it in my notes because I actually can't remember what I said. Oh, mind reading.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it would be just to use it to my anxieties. Do they like me?
Yes.
Am I annoying them?
Thinking?
What are you thinking right now? Why are you looking at me like that? I think that would just be, I would just want to know everyone's true thoughts just to calm me down.
Yeah.
But also to get an insight into people as well. What are you thinking? Are you putting on a brave face right now? What's going on inside your head?
100% of people are just bluffing their
Faking
way
it till
through.
they make it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
Yeah, spot on. Now, this one, name 5 people you would invite for dinner and why. So it could be people that you would just never likely to meet, or just your favourite people at a table. But so some people have gone like combo of family members and celebrities, or people that have passed away that they never got to meet. Yeah.
I think, like, I've put down in my notes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, just for pure eye candy.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be nice to sit at the other side of a table with him.
He's funny.
Yep.
He's just very, very charismatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind having Pink, just because obviously, like, I like her so much and her music and all that sort of stuff. It's funny you prompt the people you never met, because when I asked Mum about it last night, I was like, oh, Mum, like, I can't think of, like, I can only think of 2. And she goes, oh, what about Jen, which is her birth mother?
Yes.
And I was like, why would I want to sit at a table with her?
Yeah.
But now that you've said that, like, and I thought about it last night when I went to bed, I was like, actually, I wouldn't mind having her at the table, and even Grandma. Yeah. Like, both of them back at a table and watching them have a conversation about Mum and their perspectives, and, you know, Grandma raising Mum versus Jen not being able to raise Mum. Yeah. Like, I think I would really enjoy meeting her. Yeah. That side of the family says that, like, obviously Mum is a spitting image of her.
Oh my gosh.
But when you put my photo in the mix too, we're also very similar.
I know.
So yeah, I think it would be nice to meet her.
It would be amazing, Hale.
Yeah.
It would be so good.
Apart from that though, I really don't know.
It's all right.
Who else?
Some people can't get to the 5. Some people have more than 5. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, what would you choose and why?
Oh, I can't think of one.
Yeah, I stuck. No, I
don't know.
I didn't. I have so many songs in my head, but
it would be something about a warning or something. Like,
she's here.
I'm here. I'm in a bad mood today. Or,
were you a Justin Bieber fan back in the day? Like early days? I kind of had that in my head.
I wasn't massive. Like, I wasn't crazy about him.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, normal fad of a teenage.
Yeah, I just had that in my head that maybe you were. Signature dish to cook?
Calabrese pasta.
Jeepers.
It's probably different if you asked Ryan.
Okay.
Because I do cook quite a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I used to work in a pizza shop, and I used to run the kitchen there, and they had this calabrese pasta. It was like this quick one pan, chuck it all in. And I've kind of just adapted it from there and made it my own.
Cool.
What's in it? It's beef ravioli with like a tomato base, and then it's olives, mushrooms, salami, capsicum, red onion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's like a few other things that
do you
sometimes
enjoy cooking?
bacon. I do. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not necessarily fantastic at it. You ask Ryan about my cannelloni and
it's hard to get that
screw
right.
His nose up right then and there. There's a whole story to that.
There's a crunchy bit there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't a great one. But but yeah, like, I don't mind cooking.
Yeah, good.
It's just not something that, like, I wouldn't spend hours in the kitchen.
Yeah, okay.
Like, there's better things to be doing in my eyes.
Oh my gosh. Now, thinking about your favourite fictional character, if you could swap lives with a fictional character for a day, who would it be and why?
Don't have one.
Don't have one.
No, I thought about that one for ages, but I don't read books. I don't really watch movies.
Okay.
I can't sit still long enough. So there's no point putting them on, because I get 5
series. Do you do series? What series?
No. I watch a lot of like the Chicago Fire and like the Chicago series. And like I love Law and Order, SVU and that type of stuff. But again, like there's nothing in there that I would be like, oh, I want to be that person. Like, I want to do that. Like,
oh, my next one, Hal. So as I have injured myself several times over the years, I'm so curious about other people's injuries. Can you tell us about a time where you've accidentally injured yourself?
Which one should I go with?
Last 24 hours or?
Last 24 hours was a basketball to the pregnant belly. But
what's a doozy?
Probably my ankle.
Oh.
My ankles multiple times. I think I've done the right one 4 times and I've done the left one 6 times, and the last one resulted in a reconstruction at 16.
Oh my gosh. You played a lot of sport.
Yeah. So I did basketball from a very young age, basically up until I ruptured my ankle.
Yeah, right.
It would have been easier to break, like to snap my ankle in half, have the 6 weeks recovery and be on my way.
Oh, gosh.
But this ended up being pretty much almost a 2-year recovery. Just went up for a rebound and came back, got pushed in the air, and when I landed it just went out from underneath me, and we thought I'd broken it, but there was nothing, and it was actually that my ligaments had completely all torn off the bone, but then overlapped. And so on scans for 12 months, it looked like they were where they were meant to be.
Oh.
And so nobody picked it up. I think I had like 4 MRIs, 4 or 5 X-rays. I went to 3 different sports specialists. And it wasn't until the last specialist goes, "We'll just do one more MRI." And he took one look at it and went, "How have they missed this?" He goes, "I can see how they've missed it, but like how?" And within a week from that appointment, I was on the operating table at the age of 16.
Gosh. And that was in a basketball.
That was a basketball game. Yeah.
I reckon there's a lot more basketball injuries than, say, footy injuries, because the impact on that surface is just it's not forgiving.
And you have constant changes of movement in footy too, but basketball's so different in a way that, like, I don't know, like you're jumping. I don't know. I just feel like it's like your movements are slightly different, and like you're also bracing yourself for a tackle or to be the one tackling.
Yeah.
Whereas
sometimes
sometimes
to be non-contact, right?
Well, in basketball it is.
That's right.
But like footy,
I don't reckon it's very non-contact.
No, it's not at all. I think I've had more arguments and pushes and shoves in basketball than I have in football.
I agree with that.
But you brace yourself to do a tackle or to be tackled, whereas you're not meant to be touched in basketball. So that can be really off-putting.
Yes,
especially when your body's not ready for the impact.
Of course.
So I think that's kind of where all those injuries came from.
Oh, gee.
I've had like the typical broken fingers stuck in the grass and all that sort of stuff in footy. But
what about in just in a general day? General day?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time, especially now that I have this huge belly in front of me and I don't remember.
Throwing off your centre of balance.
Yeah. I'll whack myself all the time or trip over something. Like, I'm a klutz. Oh. Everyone knows me as a klutz.
Oh, yes. Yes, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you there.
But that's
just happen.
The biggest one that's...
Things get in your way and people put them there.
Ridiculous.
Rude.
Yeah. Like thin air. How dare people just trip over thin air? Place that in my way.
If you could, just because you have mentioned early childhood as just being, I guess, a running theme all through your life, if you could do things differently, what career would you choose? If you could choose something else, what would you choose?
Non-child related.
Yeah.
I actually thought about becoming like a chippy, like a landscaper, and because I loved woodwork in school. Like I made a makeup cabinet and a big desk for my bedroom, and
cool.
All from scratch, mostly on my own. Like I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
So I wouldn't have minded becoming a chippy, but I don't think I mentally would have been able to do like the labour and the heavy lifting and working with men. It's hard enough, working with women, let alone men. But so I think that would have been a path that I wouldn't have minded becoming like a trade.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah.
There you go. Now the hall pass question: if you could have a night with, I think I know your answer. Other than the lovely Ryan, who would you choose?
Well, look, if he's going to be the eye candy at the opposite end of my table, I might as well seal the deal at the end of the night.
Oh, for sure.
With the
You've
hall
had
pass.
dinner.
Yeah. But The Rock.
Everyone else, you can go home.
Since I watched wrestling with Dad as a young child, The Rock.
Oh, way back when.
Oh, it's been years.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you've watched his progression then.
Yeah. Ryan doesn't like watching movies with The Rock in it because they're the movies I sit still for the full 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh, so
and
Jumanji.
Don't touch my phone. Oh, yeah. Truth Fairy.
Truth Fairy, yes.
Him in a leotard. But yes.
Oh my gosh.
He would be my hall pass.
Oh, geez.
sure.
He's had the long haul there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So moving on to life's turning points, can you share a significant turning point or moment of realisation in your life?
Yeah, if I can find my notes.
That's all good.
There it is. Obviously getting a positive pregnancy test is the biggest one.
Yeah, of course.
Especially when I didn't think it was going to be. No joke. We just happened to be going out drinking that weekend, and because of my health condition, I have irregular periods anyway. So being 5 days late at the time was like, this is normal, like whatever.
Yeah.
But something while I was eating dinner, Ryan was on night shift, and something while I was eating dinner, I just went, I'm just going to take a test and I'm going to put it out of my mind so that I can drink on the weekend. So I, no joke, took the test, put it down on the bathroom bench, went and had a shower, and 45 minutes later I was sitting back at the dinner table just scrolling through my phone, and I went, oh crap, I haven't checked the test. Like, I better go and check it. And as I walked into the bathroom, something just came over me of like, record it. You're going to want to record it. And I say it in the video, I don't know why I'm recording this. It's going to be negative. We weren't necessarily like trying, but it was like, if it happened, it happened.
Yes.
And being told that it wasn't going to happen easily for me, it was like, well, this is going to be negative. Like, whatever. And I literally opened it and I put it straight back in the packet. I was like, no, that's not a second line. No. What the heck is that?
Oh.
And I've taken it out again, and I was like, so at 9:30 at night, I raced down to Woolworths to get a digital one because I didn't believe the lines and I needed it in words. But that was a really, really big, like, turning point,
of course,
obviously, in life. But, like, apart from that, like, obviously moving rurally, and, you know, taking myself out of my comfort zone and all that sort of stuff, and the weight loss journey that I went on, and everything that came before that and after it and during it, like, it's hard. It's hard getting yourself, like, wanting to get yourself to a place where you like looking in the mirror. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're probably like the three most significant.
Because you would, I guess, moving away, you would have changed jobs, like moving away from friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had the
starting
same,
a new life, right?
Yeah. I had the same job for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a type of person that when I'm comfortable, it doesn't matter how bad it is or how much I don't like it. I'm comfortable. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So to have the same job for 5 years and be in the same spot, and then in the space of realistically 18 months having 4 different jobs because I'm moving around and I'm trying to figure out like what fits best for me up there and all that sort of stuff, like that was really hard. And moving away from, again, like what you know, being and what you're comfortable with, your friendships, moving away from family and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was a massive change, but it was a change that now I know I needed.
Yeah, that's good.
I definitely needed it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And my last section is House's legacy and reflections. What are you most proud of in your life?
I think just like what I've achieved in like with work and stuff.
Yeah.
The strength I had to be able to pick myself up and move rural and change my lifestyle and all that sort of stuff, and being out of my comfort zone and allowing myself to grow as a person. Like, I was very stuck in my ways, very conformative, very like, I can't do that because it gives me too much anxiety, or the fear of the unknown is too much for me. And Ryan helped massively with that. You know, you're not going to grow as a person if you don't put yourself out of your comfort zone. So I'm really proud of myself for the last like 2 years of where I was and where I am now.
Perfect.
Yeah, I never would have thought I'd be where I am today. let's be honest.
Is there anything you regret?
I think just letting life and anxieties control me for so long. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still do it now. You know, the fear of the unknown is still scary, obviously. Yeah. But for so many years, I didn't do things, or I said no to things, and I didn't enjoy as much of like my, you know, your fresh 18, 19, 20, like, because I was just so anxious all the time. Like, oh, I can't go out. Oh, I don't want to do that. Or I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to do it. And so many opportunities I passed up and things that I didn't go to or things that I didn't do that I look back on now and go, well, why not?
Yeah, I know.
Like, why didn't you just, like, now I'd be like, bugger it, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, within reason. But yeah, I think letting those control me and consume me for so long, life would have been so different. At the same time, like, I'm kind of, it's not a regret because, like, I wouldn't be where I am today either if I was more outgoing. And
so you have to move through those the processes to end up where you are now in terms of the mindset, decisions and approaches that what you're doing now with your work and life and having a baby. Yes, Hales, my gosh, now you can relax. It's over. The best part's yet to come. That's in 4 weeks.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Thank you so much. This is something that this would be amazing. And what I will do is when we record the second part, then I will put all this onto a USB and your little Missy Moo, she will be able to listen to this in the future and listen to her mum and go, oh my God, Mum, you sound so young.
What a dog. All you did was ramble.
Oh, so good. And as I say, I cannot wait to upload this bad boy. So, Hals, thank you for joining me today, and we wish you all the very best. And as I say to Kimmy, all I need is 10 minutes notice and we will be on our way to rip up to Benalla.
So we're welcome anytime.
Oh, we wish you all the best.
Thank you for thinking of me and having me on.
So good. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya. Firstly, thank you to Hales for joining me today and sharing her engaging and funny stories about her life. I'm so happy for her that she's going to become a mum. And as I mentioned in the interview, I did cut her cord and was at her birth along with her dad and her mum. It was such an exciting time for us all. She was also able to pivot and create a new life in another town and has seen the benefits of this. Well, we can't wait to record part 2 with her and hear all about her experiences and adventures as a new mum. But let's just give a shout out to Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, even if it's just for a dinner. Stay tuned for part 2. Tune in to our next episode where we get to hear more lives worth telling. Don't forget to check out and follow us on your socials. And if you love what you hear, please rate and review us on your favourite podcast app. Of course, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with us through the Facebook page or Instagram. If you or a friend or a family member would like to come on the show, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. And if you want to grab yourself some merch, jump onto Redbubble to check out our products. Thanks for listening to Lives Worth Telling. See you next time.